Welcome back to another week of What Barrie's Talking About from Barrie 360. I'm Dan Blakeley, featuring the best of the best this week. We meet Mackenzie Gillen, who works in a non-traditional field for women. She's a power line technician for Hydro One in Lake of Bays region and has been chosen to compete next week in a lineman's rodeo. We talk with Ali La Liberty, a dancer from Midland who has made it big in Los Angeles but hasn't forgotten her roots or how hard it was to get a leg up in dance. She's helping others locally get that chance. Some new members added this week to the Barrie Sports Hall of Fame. We'll introduce you to them and find out what the future holds for the hall. But first, next week is Fire Prevention Week. We talk about fire safety all the time, so this is a reminder of what every family should consider to make their home fire safe. Our Ian MacLennan sat down with Barrie Deputy Fire Chief Carrie Clark and Kate Foster, who recently joined the service as a public educator.
What is the theme this year?
So the theme for Fire Prevention Week is Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape. It's all about escape planning and making sure that you and the members of your family can get out of your home as quickly and safely as possible.
Why is it so critical to have a plan in place?
I think it's incredibly critical because you never really know how you'll react in the moment to a fire breaking out in your home. And so the more that you plan and practice, it means that you'll be prepared when and if something does happen in your home. So just going over your route helps build up your muscle memory so that you know if something comes up, exactly how to escape, essentially, and always make sure that you are aware as well as to how many escapes you have within a particular space. So when you're in a room, when you're in your home, you always want to make sure that you have two ways to get out. And so going through the practice and planning of your escape really helps to just solidify that learning for you and your family.
And I guess, whether you live in an apartment or a high rise or you live in a house, it's going to be different. But what are some of the components to have a proper, escape plan in place? What are some of the things that you need to do?
Identify your two ways out of any room, but always make sure that they're clear of debris, clutter, things like that, so that you can actually exit those spaces safely. You want to make sure that everyone in the family and the household knows where to go, that you have an established meeting place, and that everyone has practiced these drills, so to speak, so that you're all in the loop as to what to do should a fire arise. And if a fire, of course, comes up in your space, the best course of action is to just get low and go. Immediately try to get out. You have often less than 2 minutes to make a safe escape once those alarms go off. So it again, I mentioned alarms just now, but that is your first line of defense, is making sure that you have those working smoke alarms in your home. And the minute they go off, that you have your route well planned and you can get out in under 2 minutes safely to your meeting place.
And we talk a lot when we say fire, people, think flames, and that's the thing that's going to unfortunately, kill them or, injure them. But there's the smoke too, right? Is it both things?
Yes, absolutely. Smoke actually is, probably what would be the most harmful to you in those situations. And so you have different types of smoke alarms out there that can be triggered based on, flames, and also based on smoke and things that would maybe create a smoldering smoke. So it's great in your home to make sure that you actually have both of those types of smoke alarms, and always just double check to make sure that they're not expired, they're in good working order, that you've pushed the button. We say do that monthly, and change the batteries, at the same time that you would change your clock. So.
Now, Carrie, as Deputy Fire Chief, what other planning is necessary when drafting a fire prevention plan?
Our residents here in Barrie are very adept at getting out of their spaces, but their abilities change with, of people aging in place, with a newborn coming home. And some people just won't leave without their purse or their teeth or their pet. So making sure that you know where that stuff is all the time, and training your pet not to react to the smoke alarm is also a very good way to use that practice time. Because if they know that smoke alarm means go to their human, then it's a lot easier to click their leash on and get them out of the house.
Now, in our discussion as of today, there were approximately, I believe, 99 deaths as a result of fire in Ontario in 2022. The fire marshals indicated we're approaching almost a record year, and almost half of those cases, no working smoke alarms.
That's a devastating number to the fire service, and it's the number one priority that we want everyone to look at their property, look at their living space, and have alarms that are 10 years or less, that have batteries in them, that have power, and that there's smoke and carbon monoxide alarms in the home.
And whether it's an escape plan or maybe the smoke alarms too, I live in Barrie. I'm not sure if I've got it right. Can I call the fire department? Will somebody come in to look at my house and say, yeah, everything looks good?
Absolutely. If you give us a call at Barrie Fire, 728-3199, we will set up an appointment to go to your home and make sure that you're safe in your property. And if there are recommendations that we can make to you to make it a safer property, we will absolutely do that.
Barrie 360's Ian MacLennan in conversation with Carrie Clark and Kate Foster of the Barrie Fire and Emergency Service. Been there, done that for LaFontaine native Ali La Liberty, who knows all too well the struggles for young dancers, but has also had a taste of the success as a professional dancer in Los Angeles, working with the likes of Drake, Rihanna, Shawn Mendes, Ricky Martin, and more. She's put together a nonprofit called Brass Ring Dance, Inc., an organization dedicated to creating safe, inclusive, and accessible dance spaces in small towns of Ontario. Barrie 360's Will Conkin did some tap dancing to track her down and find out more.
What is Brass Ring Dance and how does it help young dancers?
Yeah, so we are a local nonprofit for dancers in small towns of Ontario. We do a range of different things. First thing being, we are in the middle of our financial support program, so we assist families with paying for dance fees, whether that be dance tuition, competition fees, costumes, just regular dance attire, shoes, all of that. Dance can be extremely expensive, so we try and help families in need. We also host events, so we do workshops where we had 2 dance classes, jazz and hip-hop at various locations in Midland. And then we also had a seminar alongside that about disordered eating, dancing, and recovery. So, of course, we want to create safe dance spaces for young dancers, but we also want to tackle kind of some of the bigger issues within dance. And then we just work alongside studios and the community for cultural structural change. For example, one of our goals would be to make dance studios and performance stages wheelchair accessible so that dance is accessible to everyone. So we do anything and everything that has dance in it, really.
Yeah, what are the biggest challenges do dancers in rural communities face?
There's various challenges. Definitely finances. Dance is extremely expensive, so that's like a very big challenge for anyone, really. Dance can be anywhere from like $300 to $5,000 a year just for one dancer. Another thing would just be the quality of training. Obviously, people closer to the cities have just access to multiple different teachers and different styles. So that's one thing that we hope to bring, but also just support. Small towns are often very sports heavy, which is awesome, getting people to move regardless. But when it comes to art, we find that sometimes we don't get the same support as some other activities. So just really showing how important dance really is to children is something that we really want to do.
And you were originally from Simcoe County, Midland, correct?
Yes, I am from Midland, more specifically a tiny little village called LaFontaine.
And did you feel those challenges as well growing up as a dancer?
Yeah, for sure. We struggled financially a little bit, and for us, youth dance was a huge financial commitment. I had to work and pay for any little extra costumes that I wanted, and financially, it was just a really big commitment for us. But as soon as I was able to drive, I started going to different teachers just to expand my knowledge a little bit more and see what else is out there. So, yeah, definitely felt those challenges.
When did you first launch Brass Ring Dance, and how did you know you wanted to do this?
This was actually an idea that I had around April of 2022, so not too long ago. And I was like, I think this would be a really good thing to have for dancers in small towns. Not even really thinking that, I would start it. I was just like, maybe there is something like this that I can send to young dancers that I know or whatever. So I started doing a bit of research. Couldn't really find anything that was created to help young dancers in small towns specifically. So I was like, okay. And then I just started doing a bit of research as far as like, oh, well, maybe, 10 years down the line, I could start one. And just the more research I did, the more I realized like, oh, actually, I might be able to do this myself, which was crazy. And then as I started doing a little bit more research, I realized that the support was there and the need also was really there, that I was like, you know what, I think if I can swing it now, why not? So we officially launched in July of 2022. So we're just under 3 months old now. So we're really new, really fresh. But yeah, I think it just felt like something really aligned with myself. I can volunteer my time and try and help as many people as possible. But yeah, as soon as I saw that the need was there, I was like, well, someone's got to do it. So I guess it'll be me.
And then why do you feel such a strong passion to give back? And why do you think it's important to invest in youth?
I think I just see a bit of myself in the young dancers, and I know how much I loved dancing and how much it meant to me, that if I can help someone, stay in this industry or stay in this activity a little bit longer and give them that love for it or allow them to explore a little bit more, I'm just kind of like, why not? It's just sometimes you do things where even when I started dancing, I was like, oh, I love this. Like, I never want to not do this. This feels right. I love it. It's amazing. And I kind of had that same feeling when I started brass ring dance. I was like, wait, I don't ever want to not do this. Like, it feels really aligned with who I am. And I just have, sitting at my computer here doing work on budgets or, press or all the little things. I was like, oh yeah, I love doing this. I love working on it and being able to help people. It's just such a cherry on top for that. So if anyone is in need of our services, to just reach out. We're here for everyone and anyone that might need us.
Perfect. And can they just go to the brassringdance.com?
That's exactly right, yeah.
You can also help support Brass Ring Dance with a donation through that website. What Barrie's Talking About is a weekly podcast featuring the best Barrie has to offer and more. You can make it easy to connect by subscribing to What Barrie's Talking About through podcast distributors such as Spotify and Apple. Still to come on What Barrie's Talking About, she's a power line technician for Hydro One. Not many women doing that, and not many get invitations to the International Lineman's Rodeo, but she has one. And the Barrie Sports Hall of Fame ponders its future as it names its newest inductees. Now this.
While you keep trying to be caller number 9 or scratching your way into the Rock 95 birthday bash, here are a few more shows you can enjoy in the meantime. Like October 2nd, Scotiabank Arena, the Who Hits Back Tour is going to be around. And then back at Scotiabank Arena, October 5th, Bryan Adams with the So Happy It Hurts tour. Massey Hall on October 11th has Colin James, and October 13th, they got the Sheepdogs with their Out of Sight tour. Casino Rama on October 15th has got Kim Mitchell and Honeymoon Suite. And The Key on October 15th has Thunderstruck, the AC/DC tribute. And you got Practically Petty, the Tom Petty tribute. Meridian Hall, October 17th, they got Jeff Beck with Johnny Depp. October 24th, over at Scotiabank Arena, it's the Smashing Pumpkins and Jane's Addiction with their Spirits on Fire tour. November 10th, at History, it's Steel Panther. And on the same day, over the Danforth Music Hall, it's the Blue Stones. November 12th, Casino Rambl's got April Wine. And if you want to see any more shows coming to the area, click on that concert page on rock95.com.
Rock 95.
This is What Barrie's Talking About from Barrie 360. I'm Dan Blakeley.
I am a lineman for the county.
Used to be called a lineman, now it's power line technician, a non-traditional role for women, but Mackenzie Gillen is one of them. She's working with Hydro One in Lake of Bays and competing soon in the International Lineman's Rodeo. Barrie 360's MJ finding out how all of this came about.
There is not a lot of women in this trade. Do you think there's just misconceptions that people may have about it?
There aren't really many women working in the trade. I think it could be something where people don't consider it as a viable career path for themselves. I remember the other day, one of my coworkers had told me, I was driving one of our bigger trucks to Tim Hortons on our lunch break to go grab a coffee, and his daughters were sitting in the back of his car in the drive-thru with their mother. And when they came home that day, they were all excited because they didn't think that a girl could be doing the same job as her dad. Just little things like that. Trying to promote the skilled trade as a viable career option for women is something that seems to be lacking a little.
What are some of the great benefits in doing what you do?
It's a great career option. It's a very well-paying job. It's something that you can take pride in, and it's an earn while you learn opportunity. Many people attend post-secondary school, which is a great option as well, a great pathway, but oftentimes you're paying a large amount of money to get your education, whereas skilled trades, they're earn while you learn opportunities. Usually your employer is teaching you on the job where they have specific training. It's also a job you can take with you anywhere. In Canada, we have what is called a Red Seal program, and you are sponsored through your employer, and you complete a portion of theoretical tasks, and every so often, as you can accumulate in-field hours, you're then eligible to go to a school portion where you're tested and taught theoretical portions, and then you write a written test. So a Red Seal program is something that I didn't really realize was available to me until later on in my high school path, and it's really a great option.
I'll have to be honest, I didn't really know much about the Lineman's Rodeo, and that's going to be coming up later this month. Tell me a little bit about it, and you're going to be part of it.
Yes, so on October 12th to 15th, Hydro One will be sending 11 of our highly skilled power line maintainers to Kansas City, where we will compete in the International Lineman Rodeo. The International Lineman Rodeo collects some of the best power line maintainers from across the world, where we'll compete in the various types of events, and we'll all be able to celebrate the trade together.
What kind of events are held during the rodeo?
So during the rodeo, journeymen will compete on teams and apprentices will compete individually. So for our apprentices, I will have 5 different events. One will be a theoretical test, and the other 4 will be practical. 2 of them we know, and 2 of them will be mystery events. We'll find out when we get there. But we try to base the events based on skills that we'll do in the field. So one is a skill climb, and the other one is a hurt man rescue. So these are skills that we're expected to know and be efficient at in the field.
It actually sounds like a lot of fun. Are you nervous? It's your first time competing, correct?
Yes, it's my first time really attending a large-scale event. We did a smaller version at Kleinberg, which was a lot of fun. I'm very excited to go, but definitely very nervous.
I guess you're just really trying to get the word out that this is a great career option for women. You just want to help them get the word out.
Yes, absolutely. It's a great option for anyone looking for more of a non-traditional career path.
Appreciate your time today, and good luck when you head over there.
Thank you.
That was Mackenzie Gillen, who will be competing in the International Lineman Rodeo.
Gillen recommends parents get their kids the book Everyday Superheroes, which explores the world of women in STEM careers, science, technology, engineering, and math. The Barrie Sports Hall of Fame inducted the class of 22 this week. More on that in a moment. First, the Hall's chairperson, Tom Ewells, tells our Will Conkin Hall directors are pondering the Hall's future, where it might be, and how you might access it.
What challenges have you had to navigate through during your tenure with the Society?
Probably our biggest one was trying to attract members to serve on the board. And the biggest 2 big things facing us right now is we're presently housed in the Allendale Recreation Center, so we're about a year away of running out of space to have inductees portraits put on the wall and be recognized. That was our form of recognition, that we would do a painting. Local artists or artists usually would. We'd commission them to paint a picture of them, and then they're displayed at the Allendale Recreation Center. And that's been since 1985, I believe. So there's upwards of 90 portraits there. So it's running out of space. That was the first 30 years. The second 30 years is the change in clients, or change in residency here, because most of the residents have come from elsewhere, have moved up to Barrie. Probably two-thirds or so, 3/4 of the population up here is not originally Barrie, would probably not be originally Barrie residents, and have moved here, so they're unfamiliar with the sporting history here. But the other one is our community is mobile, so no longer does a family, maybe a child will be grown or born in Barrie and have his minor or his sporting experiences here up to a level where he may be classified as an elite or a carded athlete and then moves on to another organization. The family used to live in town and they would return here, but now communities are very mobile and a lot of people moving from community to community, so it's getting harder and harder to recognize who is that sporting excellence in town. And the other one is a lot of that generation, the older generation back in the 85s and the 90s and early 2000s, the fellows that used to recognize sporting excellence are now aged and or unfortunately deceased. So we're losing that history. We're losing the history of those heroes from bygone years. And we're looking for, obviously, people to replace them and bring some freshness to our organization.
With the COVID pandemic, it definitely threw a curveball for a lot of businesses and organizations. Did you feel like it was good that it was able to make you take a step back and maybe reassess how the Barrie Sports Hall of Fame wants to go forward into the future?
I think it hurt us in terms of a lot of our board members were aged, so we lost 3 or 4 members through the pandemic. And because we weren't very vocal, or we had to cancel, we actually canceled 2020. And in 2021, we did a virtual induction ceremony with some inductees, with 3 inductees, and so I think it hurt us in terms of not having an annual event, missing for a couple of years, and as community aged and as our communications with members sort of dwindled because we'd lost members, it put us a little behind, I guess, where we would like to be. And so actually this year, what we're aiming for in November 30, we're trying to plan what we call a futures meeting, where the hall, asking for community involvement, sporting organization, past inductees, award winners, our board members, to come out and give us some ideas on what they feel, where they feel the Hall of Fame will fit in, what directions we should be going, and trying to determine 2 or 3, short-term objectives that we can work towards. And an example very well may be is, as I run out of space at Allendale, can we introduce an electronic, like a website in the recreation centers that individuals can go in, and especially the younger ones, which are more tuned to electronics, they can look up our members. It would scroll through, and they can look up inductees, they can look at award winners, which shows a little bit of the history of the individuals, how they got into the hall. Our website actually also provides that information, but we're looking to get a little bit more, interactive, a more dynamic display electronically we could, as opposed to looking at portraits.
Do you feel that this new, the 2022 induction, do you think that event is ushering in a new era then for the Barrie Sports Hall of Fame, with new ideas, wanting to get new people, and what you guys plan for the future then? Is it ushering in a new era?
I'm looking for a kickstart. I'm looking for a kickstart of like I say, the induction is a continuation of what we used to do, and we're happy to be able to do it live again, because there is a value to these individuals, often many of them returning to Barrie, to receive the honor and the unveiling of their portrait and hanging it on, at Allendale. Many people, most of them really don't expect anything like that from a local, from their local community. But the second part of it is really the kickstart. I'm looking for some new energy, some new ideas from the business community, our sponsors, past members, of what they see the hall in the future. It has value, certainly has value with the city, in terms of it's a community that has developed excellence in sports, national, provincial, international, competitors year after year. So it's the sporting community in per se has an understanding needs to have that understanding of who, where they came from and where they're going, and that they're valued here in the city.
The Hall's newest members were inducted this week. They include Dave Mills and Paul Marley, who have been involved with the Barrie Baycats since their inception in 1999. Gary Goodridge, who came to Barrie from Trinidad and Tobago in 1973, winning arm wrestling and boxing championships. And Martin Carl, who coached high school girls hockey and slow pitch, took the Eastview boys football team to a provincial championship, and established the Kempenfeld Cup, bringing teams from 5 local high schools together for a day of hockey every year at Christmas. Congratulations to all. And we are done for another week. Thanks to Ian, MJ, Will, and Rock 95's Rachel Detta for their contributions, and to Matt Ladder for putting it all together. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to What Barrie's Talking About, rate it, review it. You can also keep up with What Barrie's Talking About on Facebook and Twitter at Barrie360, and on our website, Barrie360.com. I'm Dan Blakeley. We're back again next week with more of What Barrie's Talking About.